All right, I'm gonna hit continue here. We can go.
Punch it.
Don't you mean use the quick travel? You don't get to punch it in this game.
Nope. It's one thing that Galactic Star Cruiser has over this, I guess.
Only if you're a small child and you were selected.
Yep. I was about to say, see? I have some literacy.
Is it just because you watched the 4-hour Jenny Nicholson video?
It's just because I was sick as fuck and I watched the 4-hour Jenny Nicholson video in between various cold medications.
Is this how we're
So
starting
we're
it?
here on our...
No.
I guess so. I mean...
I don't know. I was just gonna say. I was just gonna talk about some of my research into this game's lore that I've been doing over the past week.
Wait. We're sitting on top of the toilet seat. We're not using the toilet. We're just sitting on it.
Now see if you can drink the water in the toilet. Like Fallout.
No, there doesn't seem to be an open toilet button. It's just sit on it.
Is it a chemical toilet? Like, I don't think you can have normal toilets in space.
Surely it wouldn't use drinking water.
I mean, this is the future, Chris. It only looks like...
Would you consider the toilet water in
NASA.
Fallout drinking water? That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it tastes delicious. That's the thing.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I think the thing
Sure.
that makes that stuff drinking water is the broad commercial palate that it has, and kind of the mild carbonation that the radiation can impart in certain areas.
So, we doing the main quest now?
I was so hoping that it was at least going to give us a cutscene of us taking off and going into, like, from the cockpit, going up into, out of the atmosphere and into space. But no, they couldn't even do that. They have to do this shit.
Like, if you want to sell me that, my spaceship does not need my intervention to take off and also would in no way benefit from my intervention in taking off, I can accept that. But it would be nice to experience it from first person, yeah.
Yeah.
At least, optionally.
I didn't mean to get into this menu.
Oh, don't.
Not yet. We gotta wait for this.
Okay, this is the star map. All right.
I know why they do it for usability purposes, but it does kind of amuse me that you go up into space and then immediately you're looking at the planet you were just on, as if you launched into orbit, got geosynchronous, and then just turned around and looked back down at where you were, in case you, wanted to turn around.
It doesn't even look like, oh, we just got out of the atmosphere, we're establishing orbit. It's just like, nah, you're way up, like 10,000 kilometers above the surface.
Had a little comment about No Man's Sky that I didn't appreciate. I feel like No Man's Sky is quite good, actually, at, like, getting into your cockpit, taking off, going into space. I've been thinking about that all week.
I wish that game made more sense. I like it, but...
I like it so much. I don't care that it doesn't make sense. It's such a good time waster.
Speaking of wasting time, I tried to figure out what the Cult of the Serpent is, the Serpent's Embrace that we're part of. Which was because I genuinely had a moment where I realized, like, okay, I could just keep talking shit and cracking wise like we don't care what the lore is, but that's a really, like, asinine, shitty thing to do. Like, I will continue to maintain throughout this series that there's a lot of genuinely talented people who work very hard on this game. I don't, you want to just decide to approach everything from making fun of it because that's more funny, right? So I wanted to look into, like, what actually is the Serpent's Embrace, if it's part of our character, it's part of our backstory. And what I discovered is that basically very little information exists of any kind on a character creation religion you can be part of.
Which is bizarre.
What is the summary of it? What is it?
The best summary I could get, I'll be leaving out the proper name, Vent Nowlan's here, but there's a dude who had a dream in space of like a great serpent devouring everything, and that was part of like one of the houses in this game where there's like this, it becomes this religion worshiping that serpent, and also there was some kind of schism where like there were people who were going out and like purging heretics, and like this is all like historical information in terms of timeline, but in terms of like what these people actually believe, in terms of what like you would actually believe and like what kind of culture that would make you part of, it's actually really thin on the ground.
What is it?
No contraband detected.
I honestly already covered most of the information that I can dig
What?
out.
Okay, that's not helpful. What if you describe a day in the life of someone who's in this snake cult?
I see. This is what I'm kind of trying to get around to. Like, you kind of can't. Like, this information doesn't really exist. This portrait doesn't exist.
That's not possible.
Someone mentioned that there was a way to initiate fast travel from the cockpit without having to go into a menu, or at least that's the way I read the comment. I don't see any way to do that. Yeah, but like, what do I just fly up really close to it?
No,
well, that's going into a menu.
Well, obviously, my dude,
Yeah.
but that's the easiest way to do it.
Set course?
Yeah.
No, that's just a.
And then you click on it.
Clearly, I want something from this game that it cannot deliver when it comes to this shit. Which
No,
is
it's
like,
not even close.
Why did they not do that? Like, why did they not realize that would be like the thing that people expected, especially after No Man's Sky had been out for like 6 years when this thing came out? Like, come on. I get the, like, maybe the engine isn't designed for it, but y'all had a really long time to mess with that shit, right? Like, you could have probably.
Are we
oh wait,
taking off
no,
again?
shit.
Why are we... Yes!
I accidentally hit the
Goodbye.
wrong button.
We have another
Now we
shot
have to
at
go
trying
all the
figure
way
out how
back to
land
orbit.
space. Oh my god, that's great.
Also, Rutskarn, apparently the trait that we have is about its grav jumping, which is the ship's hyperdrive.
Yes,
No,
and then
it's
but then jumping itself
not-
is required to stave off death. Like, required to stave off, like, health and oxygen loss, right?
I don't know.
That's right. You gotta.
I was trying to
constantly
find the
be fun to
trait text, but... Also, when you guys said that you could find Earth on the map, I thought that it would be like a little challenge and not just like immediately visible on the star map.
No, just no one
Given
cares
that
about
we're in the Centauri system.
have. There's nothing there. It's just sand.
Like, they're not hiding it, it's just boring.
It's
I mean,
so boring.
that is itself a fairly interesting choice. Like, it's generally either like a lost planet or it's like still a large part of the story. But having it just be having an Earth that is itself kind of a cautionary tale is, I think, pretty cool.
I agree.
Is my audio balance just weird, or are you guys hearing this guy talk extremely quietly compared to like the engine sounds?
He was somewhat quiet over the engine. Yeah, I didn't really like catch what he said out loud.
The Trade Authority runs a vending kiosk.
Oh, now he's
next to the
louder.
booth. It's just off to the side, near the ramp. Besides that, Jemison Mercantile is your closest shop if you're looking for a bit of everything. That's further in, past the security checkpoint.
Now, face sync is
I would try to
tricky.
report. It'll be on
Like
your
getting
left
like
once you get into the
faces to line up to dialogue that's been recorded, like, is incredibly
box.
challenging.
Everything looks good here. I'll be at my booth.
I am slightly surprised that it doesn't look a little better in this game.
Right, like they've gone to the trouble of figuring out that like humans don't just stare at you unblinking with a completely flat face and maybe occasionally smile or frown. You know, they've figured that out since Oblivion. But like it's and if this had come out in 2006, we might be saying, yeah, it looks pretty good, but it doesn't look good now.
I don't know, I mean, we... Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, the thing about this is that, you know, if something looks better than this, odds are it's just mocapping, and that doesn't really work with Bethesda's Like, Bethesda can't motion capture every line delivery for every NPC
mean,
and have it
This
work
is
out.
New Atlantis Transit, or the NAT.
I would have agreed with you, except they did that for Baldur's Gate 3.
No, well, okay. What I'm saying is Bethesda.
Is there a little guy
I'm
under
saying
this
that the way
train?
Bethesda makes video games,
Yeah.
really, like, I can't think of any reasonable way for them to do it in a way where they would be having everybody record in mocap dialogue. I don't think that's. I think it's very reasonable to just rule that out. And having ruled that out, yeah.
Excited to see Tony after
Baldur's Gate 3 did this is not necessarily like a reasonable, response to any like development choice with any other game, because they were kind of nuts to do that, but still.
I guess what I would say is that if anybody's was gonna advance this technology, I might have thought it would be Bethesda, and it's still feeling kind of like, all right, well, this just looks like what's been happening for a gen or two now.
the Freestar Collective and the UC are still
This is so weird to me. Like, okay, it's colorful, it's nice. For once, Bethesda didn't just make everything one drab color, although the other planet was one drab color, and the planet before that was a different one drab color. But now I'm just getting, like, someone did a bad ENB color correction on a Bethesda game vibe from this particular planet. Like, it's like everything's kind of blown out. It feels like there's some sharpening going on. Yeah. And like, I don't think that's a good answer either. Like, Bethesda may suck at color correction, but so do random people on the internet most of the time.
Most people who I have talked to who played this game, or I've watched videos online, as soon as they entered this planet, they were like, fuck this shit. And I think it's because, to me, it looks like a college campus.
I was
and
about to say this is a college campus.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Northern California, and it actually reminds me a lot of, like, parts of the Berkeley campus and Stanford, and, like, not that I went to those colleges, come on, I'm mumbles, but, like, I visited them sometimes for parties, and they kind of look like this.
Right.
I went to UCI,
yeah.
and it felt like the drabber version of this, yeah.
We may be in a United Colonies city.
It's got
Constellation is an entirely
it's got
neutral
big
entity.
college
It always
campus
has
energy in terms of, like, there's going to be a lot of buildings here, and you're only going to need one or two of them.
Right. Yep.
It's just a matter
It's
of,
also-
like, navigating
Yeah.
the interminable gardens to get to those places.
None of the people here look like
Here we
they
are.
really do
The lodge.
anything. They look
The
like they're
front
just
door.
part
Yeah.
of the scenery.
Hold up the watch
Like college
that Barry
campus,
gave
yeah.
you. I have
it's
messaged
Just
watch.
like a
other
college
members of Constellation. They
I
will
still
be
can't get over the
waiting
whole,
for
like,
us
it
inside.
fits you perfectly when it's got a motherfucking adjustable wristband. Like, come on. It fits everybody.
Captain, everyone will be in the
What's
library.
going on with
just
these
inside. If Barrett were here,
paintings? I guess they're
It's an
probably supposed to be
adventurer's club.
paintings in
for something
universe.
bigger now, and he
Oh,
knows
we're in the
this place
Pathfinder
will
Society.
grow.
Great. Apollo.
It looks like a
What is
portal gun.
Oh, I can steal the bowl. Can I... What's the... How do I pick stuff up and hold it?
E?
Like,
That's a
in the
E?
air.
Oh,
I
it used to
tried
be
holding...
T.
No, I just grabbed it. Hang on. I've got 24 misc items. What even was that? Bowl?
You stole it. It's stolen. Please drop the stolen bowl.
Stole the bowl. Z?
No. Nope.
Not Z, not T. Oh, well, I guess I gotta look
No,
this up.
let's go into the we gotta know what this is. It's important. I was doing it earlier.
So what is
Middle
this
mouse
place?
button?
Mumbles Chris, I guess.
What
Bubbles,
is
you
it?
wanna take-
What is this?
What-
what is
did
this?
you ask?
It
What
just
is-
doesn't work on
what's the
some
deal with this
objects.
So, when Disney wanted to put a bunch of different IPs together into one succinct idea, they invented this thing where it was like the Adventurers Club. Like, oh, they call it the SEA. And so basically that means people from like Indiana Jones and like
Nelson?
Big Thunder
Welcome to
and Jungle
Constellation.
Cruise could all be
Another
part
one to talk
of
about.
the Society of Explorers and
Would you care to tell us
Adventurers.
what happens
And that's
to
what this
our
is based
friend?
off of.
why you're here.
I
and
love.
he
I
isn't.
don't know if that's true, but I love that that's where we both went with this.
Josh, also before you answer here, I just want to say like, there's so many patterns and like little trends and loops in Bethesda writing that you don't notice until you get sick of it. And
Yeah.
when there's big gaps, you especially forget. And just like when we walked in and this lady's immediately demanding answers about shit that had nothing to do with our own decisions and all the stuff we're thrusting into, we're like, now we need to like explain ourselves on like the
Did
back
we
foot.
make decisions?
That's so fucking... No, we made no decisions. It's so fucking Bethesda. Is it not? Am I wrong, guys? Like, is this not really
Barrett
Bethesda?
showed up and said I was the main character and then gave me a ship and I guess is now hanging out on a barren mining planet.
Like, walking in here and being like, why aren't you
Yeah.
this person I expect? You better explain it
No,
right
that's
now.
absolutely a thing that happens in Bethesda games all the fucking time.
I mean, it does make sense. You did use his watch to identify yourself and came in as Barrett.
I mean, that part makes sense. The whole Barrett leaving us with his ship and just hanging out on a deserted mining planet is not, but...
Where's Barrett? He
do we
bounced.
wanna-
He bounced?
Yeah, he said fuck it.
Wait,
Yeah, he said-
wait. Do you like this better, or do you like my son is missing? Where is he? Like, which one do you like?
I actually thought
I feel like
that
that's a
was
false
okay.
dichotomy, but...
Have I lost your
I,
attention?
I was okay on board with Fallout 4's storyline up until, like, it's revealed that it was all a big, stupid, asinine, insulting waste of your time.
The first half of Skyrim's main quest isn't that bad. It's when it starts getting into the fucking
I
Blades
like
dragon
Skyrim's.
shit that it...
I'm just some dude, and then it turns out I'm Dragonborn. Nobody knows why. I gotta go up on that mountain
Sure,
to get the old guys. That's fine.
I think Skyrim actually is pretty decent intro. I think the cart ride's a little long. Other than that,
This is
good
a
stuff.
private organization dedicated to exploration.
Also, if I
Space
walked in here
primarily,
after like
but also
some dude
anomalies throughout
like
the
hired me
systems.
to find a rock,
inherently
and then I
dangerous
touched the rock, and then I had to
So if
take
one
his
of our
hot
own doesn't show
Camaro
up as planned,
into like bandit territory, and then kill the bandit king to get here and deliver it. I think my first thing I would have done after walking in here would be to fix a
Sarah
big stiff
Morgan.
drink, and then I'd go
Chair
blow up their
of
toilet,
Constellation.
and then I'd come back and I'd say, let's start asking
Anything
human
you
questions.
discussed with Barrett is my business.
I mean, the likely answer to what happened to Barrett is I killed him and stole his watch, his ship, and his robot. So, like, they're being very courteous right now.
Yeah.
I see.
Ask the
Oscar,
robot. I
very
gotta go have a
All
drink.
statements made have been factual.
Is the robot a
See?
backpack?
This is just typical. Barrett hands over our ship and our robot to some random employee of that discount mining outfit he uses.
Walter,
And if we hadn't insisted on installing those emergency protocols, I
I
guarantee
listen.
you-
I'm,
This guy's
I'm-
looking at
Walter's
someone
pissed.
else.
Yeah.
Wait to kneel.
Walter's pissed.
Yeah.
I'm on board with Walter. Walter and I, we're off to
Yes.
a great start
With
right
the
now.
artifact.
I agree. Fuck that guy.
thank you.
Is that McCready?
Now, let's focus on what's in front of us.
Did he just, like, find himself in space?
What happened when it was extracted?
I do
Did
think
anyone
this is
see
when the
it?
game lost me.
Here
It
I
was
come.
not arriving at the Citadel here. Or not Citadel, what is this place
We
called?
think it's
Apple
else that
Store.
pulls one out of the rock for
Apple
the
Store.
first time.
It's not
Why?
arriving at the Apple Store
I'm
that,
not
that
sure
lost
yet.
me. It's her
if you
spiel
would
about how,
mind adding an
because they're an
updated one.
adventurers club, all they care about is adventures and learning.
Interesting.
And it doesn't matter if you're a serial killer or a mass murderer or if you do a little genocide or something. That's player choices you can make later. We're all here to
What
just,
the
as long as you're
fuck?
learning stuff. What?
Why? Why did we
Vasco's
start
right
like
in
this?
front of us.
Vasco's
fucking
standing in
jamming
front of
us
us.
out of the tire.
Well, he
Do
probably
you like
wouldn't be
to
if you...
learn?
The ultimate mystery.
But gentlemen, can we...
This is like Bill Nye the Science Guy game.
Noel.
Except for you're not trying to stop a meteor from crashing. Why won't they remaster that game?
Let's see.
Wait, did we give them
We
the
know the artifacts react.
artifact?
Yeah,
no,
we have to
these are
collect more.
artifacts,
We
okay.
already have move when they're in close contact. Now, if we add this new one to the two we already have.
Okay, we haven't given it to them yet, but we're going to give them more artifacts. This is our MacGuffin.
There you go.
That's it. Just like the others.
And to imagine, we thought there were only two of them at first. Oh my god, that's
This
it.
man is
They're
smiling
reacting.
very
Look at how
Can you
unsettlingly.
imagine how
that
fucking
energy that's
exhausted
working between
and
them,
not
no
into this you would be
manufactured material in the
if, like,
science
you had just
can
come
do
off
that.
an 80-hour
None of
mining
them.
shift?
This
and
Yeah,
done
like-
all that bullshit to get here.
And had to kill the Pirate King.
Heart attack.
This is a weird origin for the Traveler in Destiny.
They're coming together?
Built by
Did the new expansion like reveal what the fuck's up with the Traveler finally?
I have no idea. I know you go into it, but I have not spoiled myself on it.
You're on, Walter.
Well, if we had all the answers, it wouldn't be exciting. Now, would it?
Not to take away from the moment.
When I first saw this, I was like, oh god, I've got to find more pieces to complete this fucking orb.
Are you ready to get to work?
Is that what happens?
Exploration is the life.
That was
we
my
want to
first
lead
thought.
This little universe of ours.
Yeah. This is all going very quickly, even for a Bethesda game, though. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we found the main quest. Like, you don't even really get into the main quest bit until you get to Whiterun in Skyrim, and you can spend, like, hours not doing that.
I think they had to do this because of the scale of this game. They had to sort of railroad you straight to the main plot because there are so many planets and so many things to do. If they didn't immediately dangle that carrot, you could play the game like it's No Man's Sky and just never ever see the main
In
plot.
Mass Effect,
This feels...
Solving that.
it's like every quest leads to a next quest. It's very railroaded, and it's on purpose because otherwise you're just stuck in space. I mean, it's I can't imagine trying to make a Bethesda game that's like world you can go anywhere, and then it has a Bethesda storyline. It just doesn't make sense.
Into the unknown.
I feel like 10 years ago there would have been a whole, like, early starting quest chain of, like, getting through that door that we just walked through to meet Constellation, and then you do. Okay, let's see how much we can say no to this.
Fair enough, but you need a place to stay in the city, right? Why don't you settle in here? We owe you.
But don't you want free room and
Come find me when you're
board?
ready.
Okay,
And
here's a
here.
serious
I
question.
think you've earned
If you
something for
have
bringing
a
the
ship,
artifact to us.
why do you care about also
In addition
having
to
a place to stay on a
Why
planet?
don't we set you up with a boat?
We already have a house, too! I don't even know what planet
Oh my
that's on.
Find
God,
it out in the
that's
field
right.
anyway. Just
When's our
I mean,
mortgage due?
I will say, like, yeah, like, it's obviously not a pressing priority that you have a toilet that is not a chemical toilet to take a dump in, but it can, you know, if you flew a 747, you might enjoy sleeping somewhere besides the 747.
That's yeah, it's like hashtag van life, I guess. You just gotta like have an apartment that you go to in between vlogging.